Hey guys, I'm Meredith. Welcome back to my channel. So December is here, it's chugging along, which means Christmas is right around the corner. And as a retail work veteran myself, I have very much a love-hate relationship with Christmas. So I don't normally decorate my apartment, but this year I feel like it's been such a rough year for a lot of people that I really wanted to get into the spirit of Christmas. But I also have 2 cats and a Christmas tree is kind of a no-go here just because they're very mischievous and I don't trust them with glass ornaments. I am basically going to be making myself into a Christmas tree. So basically for this look, it's gonna be as if a tacky holiday sweater had a baby with a Christmas tree, because that's basically what I'm going to be making. This is gonna use a bunch of different techniques that I haven't used in a super long time, so I'm really excited to see how this goes. So let's jump into it. To complete this project, you're going to need a mesh fabric with large holes, several skeins of yarn in whatever color you prefer. I did get 4 skeins, but I could have definitely used at least 1 or 2 more, and then whatever decorations you want to include. To get this project started off, I've already taken my mesh material and I have made it into this very simple dress using the McCall's M8058 pattern. Just a very simple pattern. The one tricky thing about this is that this material is pretty tough to sew. I just sewed it like normal and there's just like kind of gaps between the mesh where the thread is just kind of strung together. So it's together and it's fine. If any of you have tips on how best to sew mesh, please leave them in the comments below. I didn't really know what to do, so I just kind of made it work. But this is a little bit of a trickier material to work with. But the reason why we want to make this out of this larger mesh is that to make this into a tree, I'm going to be using these little strings of green yarn and then using a technique called latch hooking to attach these to the mesh. So basically the way that my fabric works is the mesh comes together and it makes like a diamond shape like this. And basically what I'm going to do is take a little piece of yarn that I've cut into 4-inch long pieces and I'm going to latch hook this onto each side of that diamond. Hopefully once I do that on every single one, the whole thing will be filled and it will look like a fuzzy green Christmas tree. So I have 2 skeins here of yarn cut into 4-inch strips. And the way that I cut these up is you just take the yarn and wrap it around a piece of cardboard that is the width of the pieces that you want, and then cut that down both sides, and that will give you all the yarn pieces that you need. So I have 2 skeins here. I have 2 other skeins that haven't been cut yet. I'm just not sure if I need them yet, but this is about 3,000 pieces of yarn. I definitely have my work cut out for me as far as how that is going to go on. And if you've never done latch hooking before, it's a very simple process. It's normally used for things like making rugs or making wall hangings. You can get kits for latch hooking at places like Joann's or Michael's or whatever craft store you shop at. And basically, the only tool you need for latch hooking is this little hook right here. This is what will be used to latch hook every single piece of yarn onto this dress. But this is about $4 at the craft store. Super affordable and will be super helpful if you attempt to tackle this. So that is the plan for the actual dress itself, and then once the strings are attached and all the yarn pieces are on, it's looking more like a tree, then we will decorate. So that's what I have all of my ornaments for. We're going to top the whole thing off with a Christmas tree topper. So that'll be going onto a headband to kind of bring the whole thing together. So for the technique for latch hooking, basically how it works is you will take a piece of string, you will put your latch hook tool through it just like this, and then you will loop it through a loop of your material. And then once you start to pull the tool back, it raises this little foot. As that's being raised, go ahead and loop the yarn around it. This will clamp shut. And then as you pull, this will make a knot in the yarn, which will attach it to the mesh. So that's why we're going to do this on each of the little sides of the mesh holes, and then hopefully once this is all together, you won't be able to see my skin underneath. But I do have this pretty fabric that has some nice gold on it, so if I am able to see it, I think it will just give it some dimension. And worst case scenario, I can wear something underneath it if you can still see my skin. So that is the plan. This particular process will take an extraordinarily long amount of time, so I'm going to do it off camera. But once I have all the yarn on, we will move on to decorating. Okay, gang, so I have been latch hooking this for what feels like an eternity, and I'm not making a ton of progress. So I wanted to check in with y'all and let you know I am going to be changing my method here a little bit. So I know when I said that I was going to be latch hooking, that I was going to latch hook this yarn onto all 4 sides of these little diamonds right here, but it's taking way too long, and I don't think I'm even going to have enough yarn if I did do that. So I am switching to doing every other. So if you look here, this patch has already been done with it completely filled out, and it looks really nice and thick, but it's just taking way too long, taking up way too much yarn. So this patch right here is the half, which I will have to wear something underneath it so you can't see my skin, but this is just so much faster and it's going to take a lot less yarn to finish. I was just concerned that I was going to run out of yarn because I did get the yarn that I'm using on clearance, and I'm just really not sure if I can get any more of it, so I don't really want to risk running out if I don't have to. So that is the one change that I'm making, and basically what that means is I'm going through and doing these row by row. So originally what I was doing is I would do one right here, one right here, one right here, one right here. Now what I'm doing instead is just doing these, just going up. That makes everything go a ton faster, and even though this is a little bit thinner, I still think it looks really, really good. It's definitely gonna pull off the Christmas tree effect. This would be so nice if I had enough yarn and enough time to do it, if I could do the whole thing like this, but it's just not gonna be realistic. So, wanted to check in and let y'all know that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna keep on latch hooking. This is probably gonna take me another eternity to finish, but I will check in once it is done. Dress is finally finished. Oh my God, this took me so long to finish. I have been working on this every single moment of every day that I have free for a full week to latch hook this. I knew that this was gonna take a long time, but I was not expecting it to take that long. I am never, ever, ever doing this again. Like, never doing this again. And the thing that's crazy is it still took me a full week to do it, and I used half as much yarn as I thought I was going to need. So instead of doing every single side, I only did half the sides. So I was like, okay, well at least maybe I won't use all of my yarn. No, I used all 4 skeins of yarn on this. It took me a full week. There was a 6-inch section at the bottom that I didn't even fill because I ran out of yarn. That's like 6,000 pieces of yarn that I ran out of, and I wasn't even able to finish the whole thing. So I just cut that part off of the bottom. So, needless to say, if you're going to do this, buckle up because it requires quite a bit of patience. But it's done now, so thank goodness that is gonna be the hardest part done. Right now it is fully giving me ghillie suit vibes, so I am hoping that once we put these decorations on here, it will actually start to look like a tree. I think the color of it is perfect. I got really, really lucky with the color of this yarn. Instead of doing traditional ornaments, which you could definitely do regular just glass or plastic ornaments on this if you wanted to, I thought it'd be cool to see if I could find some plush ornaments, which I did actually manage to find, which I was very surprised about. So I have these red and green little plushy ornaments that I'm going to be attaching, and these are much, much, much larger than I originally thought they were going to be online. I didn't realize they were going to be this big, so I'm going to be very sparing with these. I'm not going to do a ton of them just because this is already a very, very fluffy dress because of the yarn, and then if I put a whole bunch of these on there, I'm going to look like a giant blob, and I want to try my best to keep my shape as much as I can just so it looks a little bit more flattering. But I'm going to for sure use these kind of as like a little decoration around the bottom. I think I'm gonna stagger them and do them all around the bottom of the dress, sticking close to the hem. And then I will just do a few sparingly across the body. And then I really am looking forward to I'm gonna do a row of them on the arms. So when I put my arms out, it's like the branches of the tree and it has the little ornament like fringe. So that is what I am planning on doing. So I think these already have little loops on them. I think I'm just going to use just basic thread and just loop this through and then tie it in a couple of knots, and that's how I'm going to attach these to the mesh. So super, super simple. So I'm going to go ahead and get started decorating this guy. To finish this look off, we definitely need a tree topper, so I chose to make a super simple gold star. And to make this gold star, I cut out a rough star-shaped template out of some regular paper and then traced it onto some gold lame that I happen to have on hand. And then next I carefully sewed around the edges of the star, leaving the bottom open to put in a piece of batting, just to make the star a bit 3D. And then once the star was finished, I just hot glued it to a headband. So now that all of our elements are complete, it is time to put everything together, and I am so unbelievably thrilled with how this is turning out. I was so nervous for a while there. This took such an unbelievably long amount of time. I truly almost gave up multiple times because this was just taking such a long time to latch hook. But now that I'm seeing everything together, I love it. I'm not really much of a Christmas person, but this definitely helped me get into the spirit of the holiday. And even though I can't really have a real Christmas tree here at my house, this is a perfect replacement. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I do post videos every single week. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle is So Far From Ordinary, just like my channel. So I hope to see you there, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye.